Hey, welcome to Color Me Crazy Stamps, or my website is cmcstamps.com. Hey, okay, today we're going to do a Aloha card. This card has a couple different techniques. One is called Emboss Resist. That's where we're going to put this white embossing on first. After that, then we paint it watercolor on top. So we're going to be talking about some watercolor technique. We use these three colors. Just wanted to let you know that I borrowed this idea from Butter Dish Design. So basically it's called casing. You find a card that you like. We believe in sharing creative work here in the Stampin' Up community. And so you pretty much find a card you like. You can change it a little bit. Her original card had a couple other different colors in it. It was slightly different. So that's the card we're doing today. Wanted to show you that we use a black cardstock base, so we're going to get rid of that for now and we'll use it at the end. And then I just went ahead and stamped the Aloha part of this using the Labeler Alphabet stamp set. This thing is so cool because you can pretty much put together any word that you want to make. So it's really good in scrapbooking. Alright, I'm going to post the other materials that you need to make this card on my website, so that's cmcstamps.com, so you'll be able to do that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started showing you how to make this card. By the way, I love this card. It totally transports me to the beach. I'm a beach bum. The more you learn about me, it's funny, I grew up in Colorado, live in Utah, but I love the beach. So we're gonna be at the beach for a little bit today in spirit. All right, so what we're going to start with then, like I said, is embossing. So to emboss, we use this little thing called the Emboss Buddy. It's basically chalk, and you just go all over your paper. What this does is it kind of demagnetizes or makes it so that your white powder, emboss powder, won't stick everywhere, you know, the places you don't want. Okay, another staple with embossing is a Versamark watermark stamp pad. All right, we use that to ink up our stamps, and it comes on clear, and then you can put on your powder and add heat to it and it solidifies it. It's pretty cool. Embossing is actually my favorite technique, and my second is painting, any kind of watercoloring or painting. Okay, so as you can tell, I have my stamp straight down, and I chose to bring the top of the Versamark pad to my little pineapple. I'm going to do the pineapple first, and I'm going to put the very top of the leaves, so the center portion where the leaves and the fruit like kind of meet right there. I'm going to put that right above my A, so the A is going to be in between it. Looks like you're going to land on the A, but don't worry, you don't land on the A. And then just put a little firm pressure. I like to stand up for that. Hold on to your paper as it's sticky. It comes off. And it has a little bit of a give because it's sticky, so you need to hold on to your paper. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is I grab these two little flowers, and the stamp set will be on my site so you can see which one I used. And I'm gonna do this little flower under the A and the H with a little bit going off the edge of the paper. As you can note, I've got a white piece of computer paper, very cheap and affordable. Just put it underneath. It's very good to use when you do any sort of embossing, because you can, you're gonna get sticky when you're, you know, I'm stamping off the side and I get sticky and the powder goes everywhere. So it's just really convenient to have. So above your H and your A of the Aloha, you're gonna put the flower with a little corner of it going off. Make sure that you have an even pressure, and you can go ahead and stamp that. We're gonna do the little flower up on top. So as you can see, there's a little flower here, big flower, little flower, and big flower going off there. We already did our pineapple. So let's go ahead and just stamp this guy coming off the top. Perfect. And like you can tell, I hold it down just for a good second or two, and then I go ahead and hold my paper when I pull it up. Okay, ink this up pretty nicely, and we're gonna finish up with our last flower. You know, it doesn't really matter what direction you have your flower going, just whatever you think looks good. And once again, I stamped off the edge for that one. Okay, we are done with the Versamark. Cap it up, put it away. All right, and then this is a little handy tool. A lot of people use Tupperware, but I just found one of these at Michael's. And I bring my paper above it, and then I grab my white emboss powder and just kind of pour it on. This is one of the funnest parts, is you get to pour it all over your project. One thing I do is I make sure I can get some of it back into there once I'm done. And then I go ahead and check and I can see, oh, maybe that flower didn't get enough powder, that flower didn't get enough. And you can just put the powder over the spots that you need. Okay, so this is why it's good to have extra stuff underneath you, because you get this stuff everywhere. Turn your paper upside down and do just kind of a little, I don't know, I guess a little flick. And you're gonna flick off some of your extras. And if you don't get all of your extras off, don't fuss, just grab a cheap painting brush from like a Hobby Lobby or a Michaels. And then I don't know if you can even see what I'm doing, but I am just brushing off my extra white powder in places that I don't want it to be. I only want it to be in the stamped images. And so sometimes I have to kind of look in the light and see, oh, like where is it kind of going in places that I don't want? And then I can brush it off. You can also, if you're away from the rest of your powder, you can blow on it a little bit and get it all off. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move my powder out of the way, just so it's not a big mess. And then I wanted to show you the heat tool from Stampin' Up. So this is what it looks like. It's got a little stand, and it's got level 0, which means nothing. Level 1 is to kind of help dry. We're gonna use that later. And number 2 is what we're gonna use today. It's an extra strong heat, and it will help solidify. So right now, I'm gonna show you real quick. Pull this up. Okay, so right now, if you can tell, it's kind of got like a cream powdery look to it. And when it's done embossing, it looks like kind of a firm, solid white. And you're gonna see that change. Hopefully you can see it on this video. So heat it up to 2. I let it, just warm up. And then I put it on my paper. You can keep it at the spot. Not too close, not too far. And you can kind of go back and forth between the spots so you're equally heating. And I'm not sure if you guys can tell. I'm really hoping that you can see this transformation. It's just barely changing now, so you're gonna have it just look like it's blending into your paper instead of looking like a cream. And why it's good to look into the light is so that you can catch the spots that aren't done. Because if it's not done, it will actually be powder and it will come off on your hands instead of solid. We want it solid because we're gonna watercolor over it. Make sure that your fingers are out of the way of the heat. And now I can see that there's a couple spots that need more heat. The first time you do this is so cool, especially if you're using gold or silver. It's like magic. I get excited every time I do it. Okay, all done. All right, so you just want to let that cool down before you're going to watercolor. So before we do that, I'm going to show you that we're going to need these agua painters. It comes with 2. You have a 15mm with the blue cap, and you have a 12mm with the clear cap. We're going to go ahead and use the bigger 15mm one. I already have one already. Just wanted to show you, see the water inside, that little area down here? You unscrew right here. This is how easy this is to refill. You can keep using these forever. Like I've had this one a couple of years. So you open it up, put a little bit of water in, and it has a fill line. The reason why you don't want to fill all the way up to the top, it will bring water out like crazy and ruin your watercoloring. Okay, so I wanted to show you the tip is just like a watercoloring, what do you want to call it? Like a watercoloring brush. And it already has the water in there, so it makes it easy for you. Okay. Our paper is now dry enough, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to watercolor. No, this is the best part. Okay, we're using these 3 colors, and I wanted to show you in order to make this little, the inside of your cap, it's going to hold the color. So you make it so this is loose, so it's not locked, so you unlock it, and then you just put your palm to palm, and then it puts a little bit of color on your lid. So your lid is now going to be what we can grab our paint from, okay? So let's get some liquid or some ink on here. And now I have this automatically with gravity. It fills with just enough water. And if I ever need more water, I would just squeeze a little bit of pressure. Be careful not to do too much pressure because this stuff can come out fast. And when it's too watery, you end up with lots of issues. Okay, I'm gonna leave just a tiny bit of that color there, mix it with a little bit of my yellow, and then start down here and move up so that those 2 colors just naturally mix. And you want to do it all across the paper because the white emboss part is actually pretty cool because it will not absorb your ink. That's why it's called resist. So I'll show you at the very end. We're going to clean up the white embossing portion. Okay, now I'm going to grab, what I did is I cleaned this off by squeezing it and letting drops come through until it was clear and there was no more ink. And then I like a paper towel to just kind of help underneath. Okay, let's go ahead and put some on and move up. Now watercoloring, it's very important that you keep a consistent fluid motion, and see how I'm just dragging the color down. And then you want to make sure it just blends real nice and pretty. All right, let's leave a little bit of yellow on there. I'm going to grab some blue, and so it's going to kind of become sort of like a green color. And I'm moving that upward as I go. And it's just so pretty. All right, so let's go ahead and take a couple drops out. So I'm squeezing my agua painter, and then I let it come clear. And then go ahead and grab your Pool Party ink. I like to flip this around. It's just easier for me to do this way, as I want the most concentrated color at the bottom of my card. And you see how I'm just layering, I'm just kind of adding more. Wanted to point out one cool thing. Let's say you feel like you have too much water, so go ahead and use your paper towel to dry it off, and then you can actually take color off. I don't want to take color off, but I just want to show you if you feel like there's too much water, too much color, that's a good way to do it. Okay, sometimes you run into problems going over your color again, but maybe if you do it once or twice, you can kind of go over really quickly once this is dry. Make sure it blends, don't get too much water on there. And I like that look, that's such a good look. All right, so you saw a little break in the video. Unfortunately, the device I was using to film this this video for you guys, it kind of just didn't film the rest of it. So I'm gonna come back and just review. Sorry it's after the fact, but you saw me put all the color on with this. So what happened is on this white emboss, since it's slick, the water and the color just kind of beaded up on top of it. And so as you can see, I used my paper towel to take off the color and the extra water. And you want to do this going away from your card so that you're not messing up the color that you have on your paper. So you just go through and clean that off. That's what I did. Then I used my heat tool on level 1, and I was able to dry this. It helps to dry. And as you dry, I just kind of tried to flatten it out, and see, it's not perfectly flat, but it did a pretty good job. Then at the very end, you're going to flip your Aloha card over, and you go across with the fast fuse. Now the reason I use a fast fuse, because it's a stronger hold than your traditional tape runner. And you want that because with watercoloring paper, regardless of how good the paper is, it just kind of folds and bends. And you want it to have like a flat, you want it to be flat on there. So you saw that I did all edges, and with the fast fuse, the only trick is a little bit hard because sometimes it sticks on the corners. So as you're going across, and when you're done, you want to go straight up. And people call it like a check. You're just going straight to the north of the table. You're not going up to the sky or out this way. When you do that, it strings and then it gets caught and you're not able to use it again the right way. So the only trick with the fast fuse is, unlike the other tape, it's extra strong. So once you go down, you're kind of stuck, okay? So be very careful as you're placing this on, that you just make sure you're in the right spot that you want to be on. That's it. We finished our Aloha card, and it brought you to the beach for a little bit, and I had a blast.